for an additional broadcast.
525, can you put me on there?
I think I have a fire.
Do you need medical assistance or anything at that location?
For an ambulance, what's the address of your emergency?
Do not endanger yourself. Have someone meet and direct responding units to the scene. The fire department will be en route.
Hi, everyone, and welcome in. I'm Nick Vasos, news anchor with Fox 4 right here in Kansas City. Today, the Mid-America Regional Council is honored to present the 25th Annual Telecommunicators Appreciation, Celebration, and Outstanding Performance Awards. Public safety telecommunicators are vital members of the first responder team, and they are our lifeline between disasters and the help that we need. They are the first people that we call in an emergency, from burning buildings to school shootings, medical emergencies, or high-speed pursuits. 911 dispatchers strive to keep our community safe.
You're covered by feedback. What's your 20?
He's at Santa Fe and Quivira.
35, we're at 85th and Quivira.
10-4, she's just past 91st.
Dispatchers must know how to respond to anything, any call, sending accurate information to first responders quickly. Add new advances in technology to help dispatchers direct responders to exactly where the threat is.
Okay, give me the description again.
White SUV. She's cutting through lanes of traffic. She just hit several cars. She's still going northbound, hitting more cars. She's wrecked out and stopped. She's on the viaduct. She's running northbound on Santa Fe over Quivira. She's on Quivira northbound running. It's a white female, black hoodie and blue jeans. She's trying to get into a red SUV. She just got into a red SUV with a white male driver.
On Quivira.
Go around the bus, go around the bus. Turn left, red SUV, you passed it, turn backward.
330, hold the air.
Holding the air, 1536. The red SUV that is stopped on your right, she's getting out. 330.
330, I need units up here on Quivira. Over I-35, have med-act en route.
10-4.
Often working long hours and behind the scenes, 911 dispatchers play a critical role in the emergency response system. To be good at what they do requires dedication, motivation, and intense training. On behalf of the citizens of our region, I am honored to say thank you for all that you do. We have a great program lined up for you tonight, so let's send it right on over to Eric.
Thanks, Nick. I'm Eric Weinbrenner, Director of Mark's Public Safety Program. We're pleased to celebrate National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, honoring 911 dispatchers for their commitment, service, and sacrifice. We have heard how much you miss the in-person TAC celebration. Our goal, providing the COVID pandemic continues to subside, will be to offer the event live next year. Before we announce the recipients of this year's Outstanding Performance Awards, let's recognize the sponsors who made our virtual celebration possible. Thanks again to our sponsors. We're grateful for their continued support honoring 911 telecommunicators across the region. Now let's turn it over to Platte County Sheriff Mark Owen.
Thanks, Eric. As a co-chair of Mark's Public Safety Communications Board, I'm honored to help celebrate the important role telecommunicators play in public safety. Often described as a calm voice in the storm, 911 dispatchers strive to remain composed, professional, regardless of the chaos they're facing. Whether it's an emergency happening to you or someone else, they must think quickly, display exceptional multitasking, and anticipate the needs of first responders before being asked. The 911 audio we're about to share shows a veteran dispatcher who possesses all of these skills and many more, handling a high-speed pursuit. The audio is from an armed bank robbery in Johnson County with the Overland Park Police and other jurisdictions responding.
Clearing the network for a broadcast regarding an armed robbery. Suspect vehicles a white Chevy Tahoe.
occupied by two 18 to 23-year-old males. One of them had a mask on and they were armed with handguns. Additional information on the armed robbery: they have shots fired in the area of 119th and Mission Road, shots fired in the area of 119 and Mission Road. Any units that can head that way? And they're now northbound and they're shooting from the vehicle. Passenger side of the suspect vehicle shooting from the vehicle.
I've got the county behind me. We're going north on 435 now. He's taking me into
Okay, you have noise in the background again. You're northbound on 435 and you have, did you say KHP with you?
He just crashed out 435 and 71. He rolled.
Suspect vehicle has crashed 435 and 71 and has rolled.
124 foot pursuit.
124 is in foot pursuit. Be advised they're armed.
Copy.
Suspects are attempting to hijack a car. Suspects are attempting to hijack a car.
I've got the carjacker.
124 has the carjacker. And 124, can you tell me where you are? 1246 and 515, I show you in command.
The dispatcher whose voice you just heard on the 911 call, flawlessly handling the police pursuit, is the recipient of our first Lifetime Achievement Award. She's Karen Horsell, dispatch supervisor with the Overland Park Police Department. Throughout her 43-year career, Karen has consistently demonstrated professionalism, maintained composure under extreme stress, and displayed courage and foresight in the highest tradition of public safety. Karen started her career in 1979 with the Oregon State Police, working as a dispatcher, trainer, and Spanish language interpreter. She says back then the role of dispatcher was basically the same, but technology was very different.
When I started, a teletype machine was a modem dial-up, an old clunky, you had to type in it, and as you typed, a little ticker tape fed through and it put holes in the tape. And like a long message, a bolo, would feed out on the floor, and you're like, oh man. So you have to like get ready to push start, and you want to like try to feed it back through so it doesn't double over on itself, and you have to start your message all over again. And today we do it from, you can do it from a laptop, an iPad.
In 1997, Karen joined the Overland Park Police Department, where she currently serves as a dispatch supervisor and training coordinator. Karen says dispatchers truly are first responders.
What we do makes a difference, and at any given time when you answer the phone, it can be a life-threatening situation, and based on what you do and say can be the reason somebody doesn't come home, or it can be the reason somebody does come home. So,
a consistent and supportive leader, Karen says good dispatchers must be willing to ask questions.
You have to have curiosity. You have to want to know the rest of the story and dig deeper when maybe somebody calling isn't really forthcoming. And there can be different reasons why they're not. Maybe they can't be. Or they're turning in a family member and they're really reluctant. But all depending on how you talk to them, they may give you the information that you need.
Co-workers trust Karen because she knows dispatch inside and out.
So I've been here for 20 years, worked the street for several years, and Karen was the dispatcher where I knew that if there was a critical incident that I was involved in, I wanted her behind the radio. It just happened today. We had a critical incident here in our community, and I called over. I called the supervisor console, and when Karen answered, it actually made me relieved because I knew that we had somebody that was in charge and that was overseeing and providing great leadership to a critical incident. And I could hear the phones in the background ringing off the hook. I could hear, and she made me feel important, and she took the direction I was giving and where we needed to send some people, and she did it, and she made sure that was done. And so there's always that sense of relief when you have somebody like Karen that answers that phone.
There's comfort in the knowing that she's got that experience, but also she remains calm. She's not one to get too high or too low. She maintains that even keel. And that's a great example to the other dispatchers in the dispatch center, especially as many new dispatchers as we have. They can look to her for that steady presence.
We do make a difference. We are first responders. It's never the same 2 days in a row, so it doesn't get boring. And I'd do it all over again, and I've been doing it for 43 years. So.
A member of Mark's regional peer support team, Karen is a strong advocate for the public safety profession and focuses highly on officer safety and the needs of her team.
Before we announce our next award recipient, we want to thank those of you who submitted nominations showcasing the hard work of your coworkers and staff. The Outstanding Performance Award Selection Committee includes PSAP managers and supervisors from across the region. This committee reviewed the nominations and made sure each met the award criteria, then selected award recipients. On behalf of the Mark region, thank you to all for helping to make this program such a success.
Now for our next award category, the award for outstanding individual performance in a critical incident at a PSAP with 6 or more positions goes to emergency dispatcher Devin Phelps of the Independence Police Department. Phelps was working radio traffic on September 15th of last year when she dispatched officers to check on a suspect possibly hiding in a building.
White male, possibly tan, long black hair, with Cherokee tattooed on his cheek. So that she believes that we're looking for him in regards to a shooting that happened last night. So it should be a house that's yellow in color. You both be en route at 11:29.
She had no idea the call would quickly escalate into a crisis situation.
We have shots fired, 2325 South Northern Boulevard. Any unit to assist the officer, switch to south.
Officer down, EMR.
Copy, everyone's coming.
Within seconds, Devin issued the assist the officer alert tone. Not knowing which officer was shot or the severity of the injuries, Devin stayed calm and focused on controlling radio traffic, identifying the status and locations of responders, and making sure incident timestamps were accurate.
Because I knew I couldn't lose it. You know, they still needed me. So it's just, part of the job. Just kept going.
Co-workers say Devin's exceptional multitasking skills and quick thinking helped her to anticipate resources needed on the scene.
The dispatcher becomes vital as a lifeline to those officers and those emergency responding personnel. They anticipate and have to think as if they were the officer on the scene or the responding emergency personnel on the scene and what they might need, information that needs to be run, addresses that need to be checked, access routes that need to be verified, because all of that changes on a moment's notice.
She was in control of it. She did an amazing job of just remaining calm. I think she handled herself extremely well, considering the circumstances, and I'm just very, very proud of her.
Devin's calm demeanor also helped officers working that day stay focused during the chaos.
With it being such a stressful situation, a dispatcher was able to remain calm and speak clearly and get the message relayed to any responding officers that were coming, and making a way for us to transport and very detailed and communicate very well. And it was very important that they did. It worked very smoothly. So thankful for them for doing an outstanding job.
Looking back, Devin doesn't know how she remained calm, but says training early in her career helped.
Actually, I remember a training I went to a few years ago where they talked about how important it is when the dispatchers stay calm, especially during any kind of crisis. So that's always been going through my head, and then that kind of just took over subconsciously. No matter how panicked I was, just keep calm and keep doing my job for them.
Once the assist the officer went out on September 15th, everyone at the Independence Police Department and their communications center jumped into action. Officers not on duty began flooding in to cover active calls for service. An off-duty dispatcher came in, logged in, and began working without being asked. It's this demonstration of extraordinary teamwork where telecommunicators maintain a calm, mature presence, demonstrated knowledge of resources needed at the scene, and continue to provide excellent customer service throughout the incident. That earns the Independence Police Department the award for outstanding team performance in a critical incident for a large PSAP. After the officer was shot, phones rang nonstop. Identifying the responders, who they were working with, and the districts they were covering was chaotic. But Independence dispatchers remained calm and organized.
I mean, the responsibilities are endless, and they all happen seamlessly and they happen simultaneously, which is why the cohesion and the teamwork is so vital and necessary for an operation like this.
The team patched into the regional communications radio channel to communicate with outside agencies assisting the police department. Despite the stress of knowing one of their own had been shot, Dispatchers did an outstanding job anticipating the needs of responders on the scene.
That happens immediately, just like it does with responding police personnel. We are a family, and that loss is very real and very present. But that doesn't mean that the incident stops. We have to get the job done first. And there is time for support and services to be provided. But in this instance, the Emergency Communication Center staff and team has to still respond to that incident, which is calling for additional medical personnel and medical resources, dispatching other agencies and responding cooperative mutual aid agencies that come in to investigate and control that incident and respond to that incident, media inquiries that come in and directing those to PIOs and responding services.
The strong communication between team members meant customer service did not waver under the extreme pressure.
I think it was very chaotic in here just with the radio traffic and officers on all three different channels that we have, north, south, and center. And between the phone calls that were still coming in for regular calls for service and other tasks that officers had on scene, nobody did double work. We all logged everything into our narratives and we were on top of it and we were shouting out, hey, I need this, or hey, I've already gotten this. And so it was very organized, but it was still very chaotic.
The supervisor in charge that day helped orchestrate the chaos, answering employee questions and updating other supervisors. She also made the critical call to Centerpoint Hospital to activate the trauma team before the injured officer arrived. The team ended their shift knowing they did everything possible to help responders maximize their efforts.
So when I say how proud I am of these professionals and this team, it truly is. It's incredible to see. It's incredible to see in action. And thank God that we have recordings to go back and listen to, because you miss more than you catch in the moment, but they do it on top of each other, simultaneously responding to multifaceted and multi-layered incidents, all the time.
Tragically, the incident in Independence took an unimaginable loss. After being shot, Officer Blaze Madrid Evans was transported to a local hospital where he died from his injuries later that evening. Only 18 days on the road, Officer Madrid Evans had just left a career of service as a paramedic to become a law enforcement officer. Even in death, he continued to help others, becoming an organ donor to 70 people. We will always be grateful for his sacrifice and service.
In law enforcement, as we saw with the incident in Independence, dangerous situations can happen within seconds and without warning. Early in the morning of May 25th, 2021, multiple calls flooded into Lenexa's communications center about a physical disturbance at an area hotel. An employee who called 911 described the scene.
911 Lenexa?
There's a very serious domestic disturbance coming from a room. I've gotten quite a few noise complaints about it. I went to go knock on the door. Does it sound like it's a physical
disturbance or a verbal disturbance?
It's sounding physical.
And what are you hearing there?
I'm hearing him scream at her. She's like screaming in pain, and I don't feel comfortable knocking on the door.
Yeah, that's fine. I want you to. You don't need to do that. Yeah, you don't need to do that. We've got officers that are on the way.
Police department, come open the door now.
Do you want the air?
Fifth, you want to go ahead and give us the air at the room? They're not coming to the door, though. I'm telling you to come to the door now. We're going to kick it. Open the door! Swipe it and back up.
Swipe it back up. I'll push it up. Okay.
Yeah, back up.
What's going on? What's going on? Open the door!
Open the door!
Open the door!
Let me see your hand!
Not knowing the outcome of the shooting, Lenexa dispatchers working that shift believed an officer had been injured. Yet they continued performing their duties in a calm and controlled manner. Their extraordinary response earns the Lenexa Communications Center this year's award for the outstanding team performance in a critical incident for a small PSAP. Lenexa dispatchers had a bad feeling the morning of the shooting.
I think initially that entire night was weird. Like it just had a weird feeling about the calls that we were going on.
the whole night. Just very unique stuff, and it just kind of felt like, to everybody, the officer said this afterwards too, like something was going to happen weird that night. Like it just, something big was going to happen.
A lot of us had like a bad feeling going into that call. For some reason, we all had this little, like our hair raised up on the back of our necks, so we were all a little extra ready to go for that one.
After the shots fired call went out, the team immediately began making the proper notifications to both internal and external resources. They handled officer requests, media inquiries, requests for information, and offers of assistance from other agencies. They say trust in each other was critical.
The whole team just did. I didn't have to worry about anything. All I had to concentrate on was my guys in the field, taking care of them and listening to what they had to say. I didn't have to worry about if notifications were being made. I didn't have to worry about if Kristen was calling the ECC, getting med act en route. Like, I didn't have to worry about anything except for my guys, and that was it. And she didn't have to worry about me, what I was doing. We didn't have to worry about Tanya, what she was doing. Everyone was just doing their job. So
our training just took over, but after we knew all of our people were okay, we all just kind of breathed a sigh of relief and grabbed each other's hands. We're like, okay, we did it. Now get to the next step.
Lenexa Police Chief Don Lehman says their dispatchers focus highly on officer safety, and she is proud of the excellent work they do every day.
As an organization kind of receiving this award, I think it really highlights the caliber of people that we have. Our dispatchers are working hard every day, and getting these awards really just highlights what they do. They enjoy what they're doing, they're good at what they do.
Exhibiting compassion and concern for their officers, the team also took the time to check on each other's well-being during the incident. They're thankful all the officers that day made it home safe. We also want to recognize telecommunicator Tanya Hagedorn, who worked that shift but couldn't be at our video shoot. A critical member of the dispatch team, Tanya handled related phone calls both before and after the shooting, ran criminal histories, and performed many other tasks related to the incident.
It is now time to honor the professionals who have committed their careers to the public safety profession. The following telecommunicators are celebrating 25, 30, and 40 years of service. The recipient of our second Lifetime Achievement Award is Master Deputy Matt Magee of the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. Matt began working in detention at the Sheriff's Office in 1996, but then transferred to communications in 2004. He says 25 years have flown by.
For me, it's been a pretty quick period of years because I've had a lot of great people to work with, and all the experiences, sure, they're been good with the bad, but when you have great people to work with, it sure seems a lot easier.
No matter the situation, Matt displays his trademark positive attitude with each caller, and his caring approach and reassuring voice helps calm distraught residents, responding officers, and fellow dispatchers.
I think I've been fortunate, always had an opportunity to realize how well I have it, so it's pretty easy to come in here and reflect on how good I have it when I've seen examples where it's not so good, and
A team player with a strong work ethic, Matt has been involved with everything from homicides to high-speed pursuits to child abductions. He admits the job can be stressful, but helping people keeps him going.
And it wasn't all me, it was a lot of the people I was working with. I would just walk in and a young lady had her child in the car and was warming up the vehicle, and the vehicle was taken. And So we all got in high gear and kind of put the information out, and within 5 minutes, another agency had located the vehicle. And for that mother to be on the other line with that mother, she was pretty ecstatic, pretty excited to have her child back.
A veteran of working long hours and holidays, Matt is eager to help coworkers and leverages his vast knowledge to anticipate the needs of field units before the resources are needed.
To be honest, I just took one day at a time, and one call at a time, and then one day at a time. And I don't think there was a big magic formula or anything like that. I just made the best of each day and lived it. 25 years to me seems pretty quick. Somebody coming in, that's a long time, but and yet it comes and goes anyway, and so you might as well do something you enjoy.
Coworkers say Matt has been a great mentor over the years. His top priority is making sure that residents and the responders stay safe.
Our next award category is Outstanding Training Performance. Recipients of this award demonstrate excellence in conducting in-person and virtual trainings, are valued mentors to new employees, and serve as their agency's go-to trainer for new call takers. This year, we're pleased to announce 2 individuals will receive the award for Outstanding Training Performance. The first is Christina Hayes, Dispatch Supervisor at the Independence Police Department.
Hello everybody, my name is Christina Hayes, and today we are going to be going over 911 liability.
Demonstrating a passion for supportive training that builds up new hires, Christina Hayes has helped turn her agency's dispatcher training program into an effective and efficient machine.
The demand on communication staff and especially getting a new communication center up and running, scheduling that goes with that, all the personnel issues, as well as just the demands of the job and adjusting to those, and the flexibility takes a great deal of time and effort, and that starts with training. As soon as they come in as police officers or anybody in this profession, chances are you're going to be experiencing things that you've never experienced in life and the average person doesn't see on a daily basis, if ever. So the amount of training and preparation that goes into that is immense and extensive, and Christina has done a phenomenal job. Could not be more proud of her and the efforts that she has done to leave her impact and imprint on this communication center and on our department and thus our community.
Christina's top priorities have included addressing a critical staffing shortage and helping new employees succeed on the job.
The thing about training is, one, making sure that you trust the person that you're working next to. That's so important. The thing I enjoy the most about training, though, is when they get it, when you see the change in them, and then it's like the light bulb comes on and they do something great.
Meeting frequently with trainees to check on progress, Christina teaches dispatchers in the classroom, on the floor, and online.
Experiencing burnout, this is a very real thing. There's a lot of 911 classes out there about burnout and stress, and I highly, highly recommend that you attend one or several, because you definitely want to be able to tell when those signs are coming with you and or your coworkers, and make sure that you're handling it.
Stressing caring and dedication to the profession, first responders and residents in the community as well. Christina tells new hires that dispatchers wear a lot of hats.
Obviously, we have to be therapists on the phone. We have to answer questions for people. We have to look stuff up. They think that we're lawyers, doctors, they want instructions. So we wear a lot of hats, and then we have to also think like police officers and think about what is it that they need, the information that they need for them to get there and be safe. And so our job is for everybody to go home safe, citizens, responders.
Christina says writing new standard evaluation guidelines has also greatly improved the training process.
So it helps the trainees understand it, and it helps the trainers grade them too, so that it's the same across the board, and they're able to understand and adapt, and they know what they need to work on a lot better.
Humbled by receiving this year's award, Christina stresses she can't do the work by herself.
It takes a team, and even people that had trained before, maybe aren't necessarily training now, but they trained before and they helped put things together and they put the classroom together. And that was a huge success in the training program that started even before I got here. So while I have had a big hand in it, I feel like it's more of an award for the team.
Our second award recipient for Outstanding Training Performance is Jessica Dorn, Quality Supervisor at the Johnson County Department of Emergency Services. In less than a year, Jessica's sunny disposition and creative approach to learning has made a powerful impact on the agency's ability to attract and retain quality employees.
I remember it wasn't that long ago that I was in their shoes, and so I can say, hey, I get where you're coming from. I made the same mistake, and this is what I did to fix it, but let's work out what's going to help you.
Jessica loves serving as a coach and cheerleader for new call takers. Her ability to put herself in the dispatcher's shoes helps new hires progress quicker.
I was able to say, oh yeah, I can see how they thought the person was describing a heart attack, or I can see how they thought the person was describing a non-breather. And with that reframing, I don't want to say a deviation, but I make the coaching seem a little less like, oh, you did it wrong, and like, okay, I see how you got off track, but let's get you back on track.
Taking an innovative approach to learning, Jessica has developed training aids that target specific learning areas. One example is her Quality House Construction tool, which breaks down home construction into 5 stages, comparing the building process to call taking and dispatching.
So you've got the concrete, the framing, the interior finishing, exterior finishing, and the decorating. And so we took those with what we want to see as a call taker progress. Foundation is going to be, did you get the address? That's obviously the most important thing. We don't want to be sending somebody to Gardner when you need to be going to Leawood. And in there is making sure you understand what happened. So don't just let them say, oh, I have AFib, and not really clarify what makes you think you have AFib. The third phase, we're going to kind of add in some of those customer service skills. Are you able to maintain your caller, keep them on track, calm them or reassure them if they're emotional? And then as you get into the finishing phases, that's just using your listening to say, oh yeah, they've already said he was breathing heavy, so I know he's not breathing normally.
Another tool features the popular children's toy Mr. Potato Head, now Officer Potato Head.
When what to their dismayed ears should they hear? But a request from dispatch, asking age alert, conscious, and breathing, oh dear.
Officer Potato Head explains to partnering agencies how and why certain questions are asked by emergency dispatchers.
Officer Potato Head was just a thing, like I said, embrace your quirky self. I had already done some training videos with Mrs. Potato Head, now Officer Potato Head. And since that was sitting there on my desk and I was trying to be fun with it, I thought, yes, that's perfect. I can create these different scenarios, a bank robbery, a traffic accident, and play in visually to the story. And it's just to help the primary PSAPs, so our local PDs who send us information, to help them know what information they need to give us so that we can make that exchange of information as quick and efficient as possible.
Jessica's videos have been a great success.
Really good feedback. I know when we first showed it at the supervisor committee meeting, they thought it was funny. Some of my peers at Lenexa PD have reached out and said that they enjoyed the video. It was right up my alley. So I think it's been handled well. We have had people now just call in and say they're alert, conscious breathing, no difficulty, no bleeding. So they took the 4 things that we needed, and now they're just like, boom, this is what they need, so I can get off this call quickly, and we're done.
Our next award category is Everyday Hero. Recipients of this award demonstrate a commitment to the 911 profession. They adapt well to new ideas, stay calm under stress, and perform above and beyond the call of duty. Providing excellent customer service, they display a caring attitude towards peers and the residents in their communities. This year, we are pleased to present 2 Everyday Hero Awards. The first recipient is Deputy Miguel Cervantes from the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. Described as calm, professional, and kind, Deputy Cervantes is dedicated to making his dispatch center and the community he serves a better place. Co-workers often overhear Miguel taking time to fully explain information to a caller and answering all of their questions.
Figure every person that calls, I try to answer their question. If I can't answer it, lead them in the right direction. I try to end each conversation with, is that all you need, or is there something else?
If a caller is extremely emotional, Miguel remains patient and takes a positive approach.
First, I try to get them to acknowledge me. but really it's just trying to talk them, let them know, hey, I understand what you're going through. I get it. I'm going to have help started. Once I feel like I've got their attention, then I just go back into my normal routine of call taking wise. But sometimes you just got to be quiet and listen to them vent and talk. And once they've gotten everything out, I can go in and ask follow-up questions.
In a short amount of time, Miguel has built a wealth of knowledge, a skill that helps him work through complex situations with other deputies. He also teaches classes on radio and law enforcement information systems at the Johnson County Regional Police Academy.
I've been a trainer here for a couple of years, training instructor at the academy as well. Just taking as much as I can. I was real interested when I came here and something to keep focused. And I try to pick up something at least once a year and learn it as much as I can.
Displaying a genuine interest in his fellow dispatchers, Miguel knows trust is vital to the team's success.
I could point at somebody and ask them to do something, and since we're familiar with each other, I'm confident and they know what they do. That's something I could leave out of my mind. I just ask for this to be done, and I know it's going to be done completely, and I can focus on my task or whatever it is I'm doing and part of that teamwork.
In addition to his dispatching and training duties, Miguel volunteers for the Sheriff's Department's Take Me Home program. It's a free program designed to help individuals with special needs get home safely should they become lost or are reported missing.
The second recipient of the Everyday Hero Award goes to Meagan McCarthy of the Lenexa Police Department. In just a few short years, Meagan has proven herself to be a high achiever and dependable member of the agency's communications unit. Currently, she serves as communications training officer and works with the agency's crime analysis unit.
So I kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do out of college, because I wanted to try to find something that combined psychology with like criminal justice and stuff. And I like puzzles and finding patterns. So when the people on the street are not entirely being honest or whatever, I like to find the truth in what's going on. If they give a fake name, I can get on their Facebook and be like, here's actually what your name is and your address and your phone number and all your family members. I think that's kind of cool.
Working in communications and crime analysis, Meagan strives to improve data collection and dissemination in both units.
When I work with the crime analysis unit, I can cross-pollinate between the two areas, which I think is pretty cool. So I can take the things that I learn when I'm upstairs working with the analysts and bring them down here. So like if I go to a training, for example, that's centered towards analysis, I can take the things that would apply down here and teach it to my coworkers down here too.
She says being a dispatcher is very rewarding, but the behind-the-scenes detective work is where the real fun happens.
Yeah, what I tell people when they say, what do? I say, we answer the 911 calls and we tell the cops where to go. And that's like surface level what it is, but we answer the phone, and while we're on the phone with them, we can be looking into the history at the house, why they've called the police before, because if they're not saying anything about having weapons in the house, but you see that last week they had weapons in the house, you can be like, hey, that's not what you told me last week.
Always focused on officer safety, Meagan watches over units via the city's street cameras as they respond to calls.
We have them at like all of the major intersections throughout the city, so we kind of leapfrog through the cameras. If an officer tries to do just a regular traffic stop and then they take off, we can follow them in the cameras throughout the whole city, and sometimes the officers will even back off and just let us do the work until they kind of find a landing spot.
Meagan says receiving the Everyday Hero Award means a lot, but it's not just a reflection of her.
It means a lot, and I think me being nominated is kind of like the same as the whole unit being nominated as an everyday hero, because everything that we do here, we do as a team.
In addition to supporting the dispatch and crime analysis units, Meagan also takes part in recruiting and leading cybersecurity seminars.
I would say to whatever expectations you have of this job, just throw them out, because this is nothing at all like what I thought it was going to be. It's not just answering the phone and telling the people where to go. There's so much behind the scenes, and it's so much more fun than I ever thought it was going to be.
Now it's time to honor our last award recipient for his lifetime achievement in the field of public safety. He's Major Scott Boden of the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. A 27-year veteran in law enforcement, Major Boden started his career in the business world, managing sporting stores. He soon discovered he had a different calling.
The jobs were fine, everything was fine, I just never fulfilled with what I was doing. I felt like I needed to do more, and public safety was always in the back of my mind. And I took that leap, took a pay cut, and have never looked back. It's been great.
Early in his career, Scott worked in detention and served as a trainer. But he took a position in dispatch because the job scared him the most.
I mean, I'd been a training officer. I've done training throughout my career, both in the sheriff's office and outside the sheriff's office. But dispatch was just, I mean, it was completely different. It was scary, and it was a challenge, and I decided to do it. And obviously, it's been something that I've loved.
Peers quickly recognized Scott as a leader, and he easily climbed through the ranks from training officer to his current position as major. For his first promotion, Scott asked his grandfather to participate in the official pinning ceremony.
My grandfather was my best friend for many years. We did a lot together. Hard work was everything. I learned about hard work from my parents, but also my grandfather. He had a relative that was in law enforcement, and he was always very pro law enforcement. And so my first promotion, I couldn't think of, I mean, I honored him above my parents because it meant so much to him. I mean, he was just so proud, and it was such a great moment.
Over his career, Scott has created a legacy that will guide the sheriff's office for years to come. He says he's honored to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Probably one of the biggest things about any award, and especially this one, is the fact that others felt enough to nominate me for it and put those words in. That says more than anything, you know, because that's people that have enjoyed working with me and enjoyed my career and the work I've done, and that's very special to me. And so this award's special because of others.
Scott admits some days are tough, but helping people makes the job worth it.
Helping that person that for me may not be a big deal, but it is obviously to them. It could be someone that's calling on the phone crying, it's upset, but then they're not when you're done. It's just so fulfilling. You know, I could retired 4 years ago and I haven't done it yet. Why? Because the career's fulfilling. It's something that I love doing and getting up for even after a bad day.
Focusing on growth through collaboration, Scott's proven approaches help the agency work through challenging issues related to the pandemic, training, civil unrest, and more. We know you've all been waiting. It's now time for our agency roll call. Public safety answering points across the metro have shared short clips of dispatch staff giving a shout out. Please enjoy this video. Maybe you'll see 911 friends you recognize.
We are Independence Police Department.
Woo! This is Mac with American Medical Response. Woo!
We are Lee Summit Fire Department. Woo!
We are resilient.
We are Overland Park Dispatch.
Hi, we're North Kansas City Police and Fire Communications Unit.
We are Lee Summit Police Department. Woo!
Those were great videos. Thanks to all the agencies who took part in this year's agency roll call. And congratulations again to this year's award recipients. All of you demonstrate a true dedication to your communities and consistently perform above and beyond the call of duty. On behalf of your peers, supervisors, agency, community, and the MARC Public Safety Communications Program, thank you for the outstanding performances you give every day.
I want to thank all of the dispatchers and telecommunicators in the Kansas City region for the outstanding job that you do. You're often not told the work you do is vital, and I know that you're out of sight, out of mind, but at the same time that you're the key to making this work. And without you, it would not work at all. And we just truly appreciate you, and on behalf of all of the command staffs and the chiefs and the sheriffs, just want to say thank you for the job that you do.
Before we go, a special thanks again to our sponsors for supporting telecommunicators in our region, and to Nick Vasos for serving as our MC.
Eric, I also want to congratulate this year's award winners and offer my thanks to the 911 dispatchers throughout the region. Every person who calls 911, whether it's a caller or a first responder, depends on you. You are all heroes. thank you for the critical role that you play in connecting residents to the help that they need and keeping our community safe. We look forward to seeing you in person next year. Congratulations to all.